Hello guys. It's always so funny to record something with the intention that you will post it, because it kind of is a performance. Because if I talk just whatever into the camera, I just talk whatever. But now that I know that this is gonna be on YouTube, it's a different vibe. I need to get used to that vibe. But you know what? Let's get into the feeling of I'm at home and just want to share what I've been up to. And since my last video where I've been actually speaking, I've been up to some things. And I wanted to keep that promise that I gave to myself. I wanted to keep you posted. I've kind of learned some things about myself. During that whole process, which I'm gonna talk about, I kind of thought I'd maybe share some tips for you guys. So the idea of this video was to talk about my filmmaking process, which I am in right now, and actually to talk about how to give birth to an idea, or how to birth an idea. There's such a mystery about ideas, which I understand because ideas are non-tangible things that fly around somewhere, and somewhere people are channeling them, and sometimes you give birth to them, sometimes you don't. And there's a whole book about it, which I'm also reading right now, which is called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And I've kind of channeled a little bit of that in energy, but also I kind of feel like I want to share my own thoughts about it and my own steps and my own ways of how to actually birth an idea. Not only what ideas are, because I think this is a whole other story, but we kind of all know that ideas are something somewhere in the ether. David Lynch calls it catching a fish. There's this book, Catching Fish, or Big Fish. I forgot the title, but something with fish, where he's basically talking about something very, very similar. And he talks about how he catched ideas and how you have to actually widen yourself, like tune in like an instrument to catch ideas, to catch the fish. She describes it more in an intuitive way, or maybe more even spiritual, where things just channel you, like it's a different spirit that kind of takes possession of you, this idea, and then you are the one deciding if you want to give birth to it or not. And sometimes we do want to give birth to some ideas, but we don't know how. The first step is take the idea seriously, what I mean by that, and I think it's again, I've been really influenced with this book right now, so if things are kind of sound familiar, or if you want a book on that, read this. I don't want to say it's like an original thought of mine, because it's a thought that I had based on that book, okay? So take the idea seriously. She also said, take it seriously, sure, but don't take it seriously. And this is the perfect way, because I feel like actually that's for me the starting point, because the idea needs to be taken seriously enough to be materialized. So for example, if you decide to materialize it, you have to respect it, you have to be aware of it, and you have to take care of its needs and what it needs to be materialized and everything. But for that, you need to take it seriously. But don't take it too seriously, because you still are doing it out of fun, right? You're still doing it because of the love for the idea. By the way, how amazing is this light? It's almost like a Rembrandt light. It's almost giving me this triangle, I just noticed. No, completely, I was so distracted with the light, how amazing it looks, at least in this display. Yeah, so take this idea seriously, but not too serious that you cannot have fun with it anymore, where you're too attached to it, where you're so clingy and so if you annoy other people. Because I kind of felt a little bit that I'm taking it a little too serious at some points, because I was a little bit the person who was a little bit annoying with, I annoyed a little bit my friends who helped me with it, and I felt that I'm still balancing it, I'm still learning it, because you can really fall into that dictator and this has to be pushed through and this is the idea and we all have to follow that idea, and everyone else is like, I didn't sign up for this and I just wanted to be part of a little play and now I'm like forced to do shit I don't want to do. We don't want it, okay? So yes, take it seriously enough to make it, but don't take too serious that you get attached to it and that your ego is identified with it. So as soon as it doesn't work out how you want, that makes you mad and crazy or a tyrant or whatever, you know? So after you take the idea seriously, you have to look inside of yourself and you have to look inside of your life. So now we have this idea, we kind of want to do it, but you don't know how to start, right? You're like, okay, okay, cool. Yes, idea, we do that, but then you're like, shit, I have my work, I have my this, I have my that, I have my relationship, I have my partner, I have my friends, I have maybe children, I have pets, I have so much things to do. How? That's where the idea usually kind of dies inside of you or leaves you maybe, because you didn't got to change your routine. And this is number 2, is change your routines. And you have to be aware of your own needs and your own routine and the idea's needs and routines. And you have to kind of web it together. So, for example, I think painting for me, last year I was very much in a painting season. I painted in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. and I could do that, but you have to be aware of your commitments. You have to be aware of where can you give space to that idea, where can you give room, where can you give what it needs. Like, you have to kind of make space for it, you have to make time for it, use a calendar, use to-do lists, use like whatever it needs to change your routines. And for example, for the film, I kind of figured out I needed a different routine than my other creative routines, because this requires more focused and diligent work, a lot of preparation and management and organization, where I needed to sit on the computer, I needed to write the script, I needed to do a shot list, I needed to do a call sheet, I needed to do a mood board, a lookbook, find things, licenses, planning. It was a lot of planning, which I can't do at night. Like, this required a focused time. So I kind of managed my time between my normal work and that work and kind of balance it out and did like time blockers. I kind of made a lot of to-do lists. Whatever this idea needs, it will kind of come through you. All the needs that the idea has, you have to plan them. For a painting, you have to get the tools, you have to get your canvas, or if you do your canvas yourself, you have to get the linen and the frame, and you have to get colors, and you have to get spatulas and brushes and whatever it is. You have to get all those things, and for that you need time and you need to change your routines accordingly to the needs of that idea. Still keep in mind that you also have your needs. It's also a balance. I also have to figure it out still, because the needs of the ideas and your needs have to be equal. Because as soon as the needs of the idea get above you, you kind of can crumble underneath it. So if the idea is so big, some artists may work the whole night through, but maybe you can't afford it. You have to be aware. Sometimes if it gets a little bit above your needs and you can handle it, okay, sometimes your needs can get above it. Sometimes you need 2-3 days off. Just do nothing with this idea because you need it right now. So changing routines doesn't mean changing it into the perfect routine of a 5 a.m. club and doing everything. Like, it doesn't require that. Like, you have to figure out the routines the idea needs, and your routines, they have to align. You have to make space for it. You kind of have to grow together and work together. So the third thing I suggest and the third thing I kind of figured out for myself, in order to give birth to an idea, I have to look not only how to change routines and how to give space, but also look deep within me and declutter my inner life. Not the whole run through and a whole 180, like up and down and go to therapy, push everything through, super duper healing or whatever it is. I don't mean that. I mean more of a declutter your mind, declutter inner obstacles, issues. Because when you start to go with this idea and when you start your creative life, things will come up. And this is just life, things will always come up. But especially during that time, also personal things will come up. There might be some inner things that might be coming up from the past, like family things, friends, relationships. And if they block your mind and if they are too present, you can't give birth to that idea. Because an idea is also like it's coming from an intangible place, and a place where God knows where, you know? So the closest thing we have is our inner consciousness and mind, where the idea is like, that's where we get the idea, right? We have it in our mind. So this is the place that needs to be decluttered. So what I also mean by that is not to run through it and like push things aside and be like, you know, put it just into the drawer and then now you can do things. No, I mean actually process some things. Take your time to really feel things, because sometimes if they are so urgent, you may focus on them. You may be graceful enough with yourself. You might be present with yourself and kind and let yourself be distracted with family, friends, personal business first. Your idea will thank you for that later, because if that's sorted out, you can focus on that idea. Sometimes you just can't do it straight away. You just can't follow that idea. You can't just push everything aside and focus on it, because sometimes some people are dealing with depression, some people are literally dealing with anxiety, some people deal with toxic environments, with things they can't easily escape. But still ideas may come to them. So I think you have to give yourself some space and time to, as much as you can, declutter for that idea. Do that. And sometimes you just need to have a little cry session, call your best friend, talk about it, go to therapy, just call your therapist if that's what you need. Like sometimes you just need to sort out your personal life a little bit before, and then everything's done. You cried, you talked, you journaled, you meditated, you screamed into the woods or into your pillow or whatever. And now you're free of that. You kind of are free of that, and now you can focus on it. And yeah, I kind of feel like this is, for me, was something I really had to do way before, but sometimes still in the process, even of the filmmaking, of the process of an idea. If it's urgent, mom is calling, best friend is calling, whatever it is, if it's really something that is like, okay, I can't sort it out and I need to sort it out because otherwise it will haunt me in my head forever, I will do it now. It's also like cleaning up, right? It's just clean that shit up. Just clean that inner shit up. Because otherwise it will foul, it will rot, and it will be annoying, and you will stumble upon it if you don't get the shit out of your way. So that's what I mean by declutter your inner life. A little declutter just to give enough space so the idea can flow through you freely. As soon as you hit one step and you get to the next one, it's getting easier. You're getting into the rhythm, you have your routine, you're like decluttered of it, you're taking the idea seriously, you walk in hand, and what you now have to do is the work. You have to do the work. You have to do the work, and I know we don't like it. Maybe we like it, but we don't like it all the time. It is work. It is still work, and that's the thing. Because as long as, even though you may have the greatest idea and it brings you so much joy, passion, love, happiness, whatever, it is still the work that needs to be done to get this baby out. And it is work, and work is, there's nothing to say about work except that work just needs to be done. And we try to kind of romanticize work, we kind of demonize work, but I like, best you don't give it a judgment at all, Because as soon as there's a judgment, there comes resistance, there comes procrastination, there comes this, perfectionism, there comes all of those obstacles that keep you away from the work. Because in your head you put a judgment on that work. But if you just don't think about it, and I know easier said than done, but if you just don't think about the work and you just see it as it is, something that needs to be done. For example, if you want to bake bread, if you want to have bread, a little fresh sourdough, the work needs to be done. Of course you can go buy it, but if you want to make the experience of making a bread, you have to make it. The work is feeding that sourdough, doing the whole all the dough thing, doing this, I don't even know what to say to this, baking it, all those steps is work. And best is not think about it. Literally, there's nothing else to say than try as much as you can not to think about doing the work, but just doing. Because actually, and this is the only thing I can say, is if you're doing work, it can be a little bit meditative, like just doing the thing without thinking about it. Also, like baking and cooking sometimes is so meditative. It's just because you know that you're doing it, you have steps to follow, you're not thinking about it, you're listening to some music, you're cutting, doing this, frying things, putting things in the oven, whatever it is. The same with the work. Just do it. I know it can be exhausting. Work is the exhausting part, but it's the most rewarding part, because with the work things materialize. That's how, from this thought of, ooh, I could make this great grandiose bread with this and that flavor, blah 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 blah, can become that. The work is making the materialization. So it is the exhausting part, of course, because that's where you do things. It's where the things from the ether, from wherever, from the spiritual, the divine, the source, channel through you, and you're making it, doing the work, writing things down, blah 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 blah. That's where the things get materialized, and that's why it's the hardest process, because that's where the alchemy starts. You're an alchemist if you do that. You're a magician. So best is really take breaks, plan a little bit of how to work, when to work, plan block times. And again, don't think about working. If you want this idea to get out of you, you push through and you just do it, and then you can relax and you can breathe, and don't forget to breathe. Don't get too tense, don't get too like in a burnout. That's also not what I mean, right? I hope you get that, because I'm not saying burn yourself out, do the work, and I don't say it. I'm talking to especially people who suffer from procrastination and just push things away, where I was also in. The easiest thing is just starting with little steps. Hold yourself accountable, do those to-do lists, check things off, everything of that is part of that. And I think this is the hardest part, but it's the most rewarding part. And also, during that process, you stretch yourself. I think this is something we kind of also have to keep in mind. An idea will also form you to that medium that it wants to be materialized in. So, for example, you will be stretched out more. So in the beginning, you may have so many resistances of waking up early, doing all the tasks and doing blah blah blah, checking things off. Or for example, if you're a painter and this idea requires a huge painting or a very small painting, and you're like, no, I don't, I'm like in my middle size paintings, I'm usually there and there, but this idea is like, no, we're gonna do a huge thing. You have to be stretched out for that. You have to learn how to use that space. You have to learn how to use that much color efficiently as well, and stuff like that. Everything, like the brain is stretched, your body is stretched, everything will be stretched. Your mind and the work that you're doing, the number 4, the step, do the work, is the stretching process, because this idea needs you to be stretched, because otherwise, like if this is a huge idea, it's a huge fish, like David Lynch would say, like you need strength in the arms, you need capacity in the brain. For example, I started dancing, and learning choreography literally drives me crazy because my head hurts. My head hurts. Memorizing which arm, which foot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, like counting, turning, which shoulder, shit like that. Like after the first time I went, my head, I thought like I will vomit because it was spinning all around. I was so confused. And now I just went to the third time and I'm still the newbie, the fucking new beginner. But it's already better because I kind of got used to the counting. I kind of get used to choreo. And imagine it's just 3 times, like 3 weeks, 3 times. Imagine I'm going to do that for just 2 to 3 months more. Already such a big improvement. This is the thing with doing the work consistently. Maybe I also should add that. Do the work consistently. You're gonna be stretched. And this idea needs you to be stretched and not think about it. Because in the beginning, the resistance is high. You may feel like, oh my gosh, it's too much, I can't do it. But if you show up for that idea, if you show up for yourself, you will be rewarded. You will. Number 5, what I also really learned is you need to set boundaries and you need to learn how to prioritize things. I think if you have an intention and a goal to birth this idea is the goal, prioritizing will be so much easier because this is priority. This is number 1. Right now for me this is number 1. My idea, my film is number 1 and then my well-being. Not gonna lie, I don't know if that's that healthy. It actually should be on the same level. I think it should be on the same level and I'm balancing it out and I'm trying to have my well-being and this idea's well-being and the same, but right now, I'm not gonna lie, my ideas needs are a little bit above me. But prioritizing is something you will learn during the process. That's why I put it so late, because in the beginning you don't know about boundaries and priorities, because in the beginning you're just forming the existence of the idea and you don't know about the priorities and the boundaries. You have to already set some boundaries and some priorities. For example, for the routine, you kind of have to figure it out. But when you're doing the actual work, you will really see how much it needs and how much boundaries you have to set. I still also have to learn that. I think priorities and boundaries are, for me, something I struggle the most with, because I sometimes think I can juggle multiple things and I just can say yes to everything and I'll be fine, and in the end I'm the one suffering. I kind of feel like I have that mentality a little bit, and I don't want that because I was really worn out on the shooting day, and now I'm like, I need to really figure out how to balance my well-being and the ones of my idea in order to make it healthy and beautiful. Priorities and boundaries come with learning what are your needs. I think that's the thing. You have to check your needs, your values, your virtues, and then you can prioritize and set boundaries. Step number 6 is learn how to deal with fear and doubt. That's such an intense one. Especially fear and doubt that comes up while committing to the idea and while giving birth to it. Giving birth requires fear because it is a scary process. Alchemizing something is scary, and this is something the book really talks about it in a good way that I can only rephrase in my own ways and kind of put my own thoughts about it, because fear will not leave you. But what you can do is allow fear to come with you during that process, but not allow to rule your decisions and your life. So you will never get rid of fear, because fear is part of human experience for a reason. It's a survival thing, and therefore we can be grateful for having fear, because if we wouldn't have fear, we would be psychopaths or sociopaths, and we would be reckless, and people without fear are dangerous, right? So we don't want to be that. We want to learn how to deal with fear and doubts according to our creative expression and our ideas. So we need to learn how to invite them into our lives, how to deal with them, but how to not listen to them. And I think especially the more you get into that idea, the more you're afraid things don't work out, the more like fear will come up. For example, fear of public speaking, fear of being seen, fear of exposing yourself, fear of being seen through, fear of being an imposter, fear of failing, fear of not making it, whatever it is. There's so much fear that can come up during that process of giving birth to an idea. And what is important is that you cannot push it away. It also doesn't make you less of a person, less of an artist, less of a creative, but it's part of it. And I think trust that fear actually always leads you to the place where you are heading to. It is a confirmation that you're on the way, because this might be a fear that you had always within you, but it wouldn't be shown up if you would always stay in your comfort zone. So right when you cross that comfort zone on the edge, of course there's fear. It's normal. It is normal, because it's the unknown, it's the uncertain. We don't know. We can't control it. Our brain is like, what the fuck's going on? We don't know. We don't know it. So curiosity and expanding yourself, stretching yourself, comes with crossing your own comfort zone. And stepping out of it doesn't make you leave your comfort zone, you expand your comfort zone. But in the beginning it's new territory. It's a new territory, and you have to be careful and graceful again with yourself. But just like if like you're discovering a new place, you have to be aware that fear is a part of it, because you don't know it. But you can't let fear stop you. You can't let fear hold you back. And that's part of it. I think every artist knows it. Every creative person knows. Everyone who's doing a business, something, a startup, even baking bread. You never know if this sourdough will disappoint you. One thing that really, really helps, to be honest, and I've been always doubting it, but I've been kind of stopped doubting them, is affirmations. Affirmations help to calm my nervous system and to kind of speak against anxiety thoughts. Because if my fear is I can't do it, affirmations, I can do it, I have patience, everything will work out, the universe got my back, God has my back. When I have that, it's already starting. It's starting to be quieter. It's not gone, but it's a little quieter, and it's taken care of. And there are multiple tools. There's tapping, there is again meditation, grounding, going into nature, doing whatever it takes to like get into the body, into the like safety thing. If it's really anxiety, there are a lot of things to do if you really struggle with a lot of anxiety. But a little fear, a little angst here and there is a good way, because it shows you that you're leaving your comfort zone, that you're expanding yourself, and you come across new territories. You have to learn how to deal with that in a very patient and graceful way. Okay, number 7 is trust your intuition. And I think that intuition is the place where your soul and your internal truest needs and the one of everyone around us and of the idea come together and speak through you. So intuition is that voice that will speak that, where your soul your subconscious, your whatever that deeper you is, what we sometimes don't even know, what we sometimes only can get a glimpse of if we are in flow state or we've experienced certain things. Like this is very abstract here, right? Okay, intuition in general is abstract, but I really believe that intuition is a voice inside of you that knows the best outcome for you and the environment and the circumstances and the things you are in. What I mean by that is there must be a place where this idea that entered you and you that accepted that, there must be a place somewhere in the subconsciousness where the idea already knows how it wants to be materialized and what it needs and what other people it needs and what circumstances it needs and what medium it needs and everything else. It knows it already. It knows it deep, deep, deep down already. And when it enters you, you don't know it because it's not in our brain, it's not in our knowing consciousness. It is in our subconsciousness, it's in those very rare spaces in between where it can speak through us. And that's where intuition comes in. So for example, if you have multiple decisions to make, intuition is of course the best thing you can rely on. What intuition does, if you really listen to it, is it has the best outcome in mind for you, for your idea, for your environment. And it knows how to get there. And if you trust that intuition, then it will serve you. And sometimes you have to make decisions on that way, and some are hard to make because some things may seem so amazing for you, but it's maybe not the best outcome for the idea, for you and your environment. And your intuition inside of you says no, and then you should follow that intuition. So this is a learning, also again a learning by doing, a learning with the process. But trusting your intuition is really, really rewarding in the end, because when it pays out, there's no better feeling than to know that you trusted your intuition and you had the best outcome. And sometimes, and this is the last thing, a little extra, with trusting your intuition, you are invited to ask around for help, for anything, for like gadgets, for people, for support, for a platform, whatever it is. If like sometimes this idea requires so much, and if you really trust your intuition, you will get this like courage to ask around, because I think sometimes the solutions are actually in your environment, but you don't know it. And if you're only in your logic brain, you don't even see them as a solution. You only see what you know and what you have experienced, and based on that you make decisions. But the intuition is the place that knows beyond that. It knows what is best for you and your idea, and it has the best outcome in mind. So to really trust your intuition is, I think, the most important step on the whole way. Like, if you really, because that's the place you can communicate with the idea. That, people, is how you give birth to an idea. I think there's no more to say from my side. I think there are more things, obviously, you can do and steps, but I think those are the ones that were the most important to me on that way. Those were the ones I kind of learned and still am learning, and I kind of wanted to share them with you because I think everyone can benefit from it. So those are the 7 tips, I think, how to give birth to an idea, and I can't wait to see all of your great ideas to flourish. I wish all of you that all of your ideas may flourish in this world, and I can't wait for my idea to fully be born and also to share it with you and to show it to the world. I will put this into the info thing, what book it is. I can also put some other books and podcasts I've been listening to into the yeah, I will do some recommendations here and there. And I think that's it, guys, for me, from my little video. I hope you are all creating and enjoying spring as much as you can. And yeah, guys, see you next time. Bye!